The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Saint Matthew.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Jesus instructed the 12 as follows. As you go, proclaim that the kingdom of heaven is close at hand. Cure the sick, raise the dead, cleanse the lepers, cast out devils. You received without charge, give without charge. Provide yourselves with no gold or silver, not even with a few coppers for your purses, with no haversack for the journey, or spare tunic, or footwear, or a staff, for the workman deserves his keep. Whatever town or village you go into, ask for someone trustworthy and stay with him until you leave. As you enter his house, salute it, and if the house deserves it, let your peace descend upon it. If it does not, let your peace come back to you. And if someone does not welcome you or listen to what you have to say, as you walk out of the house or town, shake the dust from your feet. I tell you solemnly, on the day of judgment, it will not go as hard with the land of Sodom and Gomorrah as with that town. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise you, Lord Jesus Christ.
My dear brothers, we are in the year of mercy. One of the beautiful texts that explains to us the merciful love of the Father is what we heard in today's first reading. It is taken from chapter 11 of the prophet Hosea, the image of a father loving his child, or the image of mother loving his child, is beautifully brought out here. Also, when you love someone who ignores it, you will know what it really means. Even in seminary, in terms of friendship with other brothers, you want to do so many good things for your companion, he doesn't bother about you. It will be really painful also. So also between young people, people of opposite sex, somebody wants to marry someone, but the other person is not at all bothered. Now we hear about so many girls even murdered because they do not respond to the love of the person. But it must be a free act. It must be a voluntary, conscious response that should come from the other person. Otherwise, each person is free to respond or not to respond. People should understand that. But in the case of God, it's something different. We have been created by God, nurtured by Him, and protected by Him up to this day. And we don't live a life of gratitude means it is really very painful to the Lord. We hurt the Lord to whom we owe everything. See the text once again of today's first reading. When Israel was a child, I loved him, and I called my son out of Egypt. When they were born as a people already, God loved the people. They were nobody, but God made them a people. They are reminded of their miraculous escape from the hands of the Egyptians. The powerful hand of the Lord helped them to cross the Red Sea. Out of Egypt, I called my son. How can they forget such a wonderful and powerful experience? But see the response of the people. But the more I called to them, the further they went from me. So God is very, very close to them, but then they are going away from God. They have offered sacrifice to the Baals and set their offerings smoking before the idols. Then God is saying, what all I did to you? He says, I myself taught Ephraim to walk See, imagine little children, very, very small babies being taught to walk by their parents. You could not manage yourself, but I was the one who took care of you. I took them in my arms. Yet they have not understood that I was the one looking after them. I led them with reins of kindness, with leading strings of love. See, the mother, the father teaching the children to walk and carrying them in their arms. That is what God to us. More than that is God to us. In Psalm 139, we hear how even in our mother's womb, He is protecting us. I was like someone who lifts the infant close against his chest. What a beautiful imagery. The whole spirituality of Christianity is nothing else than realizing this intimate love of the Lord. That is the first stage of our own growth in spiritual life. Stooping down to Him, I gave him his food. The adult is tall, the baby is small. What they have to do to show love? Either lift the child to their level or stoop down to the child's level. So that image is also given. I stooped down to him, I gave him his food. Then the Lord is telling Himself, these people are committing sin. They are not at all obedient, violating the rules and regulations. I want to punish them. I had punished some people in the past. Some of the disobedient land I have punished. Shall I punish them? Then Lord Himself says, my heart recoils from it. My whole being trembles at the thought. I will not give rein to my fierce anger. I am angry, but then I will not give room for my anger. My heart is recoiling within me. The love of the Lord is portrayed here. I will not give rein to my fierce anger. I will not destroy Ephraim again, for I am God, not man. I am the Holy One in your midst, and I have no wish to destroy. Sometimes the children are scolded by the parents. You will not come up in life. You will become a waste, like that. But then they don't really mean it. They want the person to be fruitful, that's all. Such is the heart of God, our loving Father. I am not man, but I am God. The mercy of God, the love of God, kindness of God, patience of God. Today, as the first lesson, we are called once again to think of all that the Lord has done right from the time we were conceived in our mother's womb. How good the Lord has been. What is our response? The more He loved us, the more He called us, we are going away. Sometimes we are not to do the elementary things. Sometimes we are again and again displeasing the elders, the teachers, by the way we behave. Above all, we displease the Lord by our behavior. On a day like this, a day of recollection, calls us to set right everything, to repay to the Lord in a life of gratitude, commitment and service, fidelity to the gospel principles, kindness towards others, not disturbing anyone. On the other hand, being of assistance to one another, being a blessing to the people with whom we live. That is what today's first reading tells us. Coming to the gospel, we have reflected sufficiently during our meditation, but our whole occasion also can be summarized in this way. He called those whom He loved to be with Him, and then He sent out to do what He wants them to do. That is the whole summary of our own occasion. We read in Mark 3rd chapter about this particular passage. But now the disciples are sent. The disciples are asked to manifest and radiate what they experience from the Lord. What are some of the instructions that were given to them? First of all, they have to always place Jesus at the center. Whatever we do, Jesus is the center. Kingdom of heaven is close at hand. They are calling people to do the will of God. How can we call the people to do the will of God when we ourselves don't do His will? That is the first question. The disciples are sent to proclaim that the kingdom of heaven is at hand. What is the kingdom of heaven? I have told you a number of times. Kingdom of heaven is not a place, but it is a situation where God is given primacy. Everybody seeks to do the will of God. How can the disciples say, please do the will of God, while they themselves do not do the will of God? Then the second one, cure the sick. By the way we behave, we have to communicate healing to the people. Not make people sick, but cure the sick. Raise the dead. Physically many are dead, but spiritually also many are dead. That is also our another vocation. Encourage people. They are lifeless. Give them new life. Bring joy in their lives. Cleanse the lepers. Cast out devils. See, this is our whole vocation. Casting out devils. Again, devil, enemy of God. Doing things that are not appropriate. Heal the lepers. The body, day by day, is being destroyed. The body of the church should not be destroyed. This is our whole vocation. The Lord sends us. And then also, the Lord asks us to be generous. You received without charge. Give without charge. Your time, your energy, your vitality for people without expecting anything in return. And then you rely on my providence. So that is what the next verses say. Provide yourselves with no gold or silver, not even with a few coppers for your purse, with no haversack for the journey, or spare tunic, or footwear, or staff. For the workman deserves his keep. One thing is, people will take care of you. Above all, God's providence is always there. Sometimes we are too much worried about this and that. Divine providence. Don't rely on your own powers or talents. Believe in divine providence. Yet another attitude. We are called to communicate to people peace. Don't waste time fighting with people. That's why you go to your house, they don't accept you. You are called to communicate peace only. Don't waste time. Your time is precious. Don't go on fighting with people. Somebody doesn't agree with you, come on, come away from that person temporarily. Don't go on fighting with the people. And then also don't go for better accommodation, better food every time. That's why the itinerant preachers are told, oh, that house they will give me better food, so I will stay there 2 days. This house is still better food. Don't go like that. Don't waste time. The Lord is telling them. The tips for the evangelists, the tips for the missionaries, the tips for priests and religious is given by the Lord. To summarize them, give primacy to God, heal people, bring in the values of God, depend on divine providence, communicate peace, don't waste time fighting and quarreling with people, don't go from house to house looking for better accommodation and better food. This is the manner of proclaiming the gospel. That itself is the best gospel. Before what they are doing, how they are doing also should communicate that they are messengers of God. So let us keep these beautiful passages in our life, in the journey of our whole vocation, lifelong. The Lord really lamenting, my heart recoils within me. I won't punish my people. Shows only the patience of God, mercy of God. Such a God can we really offend? Like a little boy is asked by his companion, come on, you steal the mangoes. Your father is so kind, he will not do anything to you. Come, we will go there nicely and eat. Your father will not be hurt. Then this boy responded, precisely for that I am not stealing. I don't want to bring more sadness to my father by my behavior. So same thing, God is so much loving us. How do we respond to His great love? How do we respond to His great love? In the manner of doing what He is asking us to do, also we are proclaiming the gospel. This is addressed to all people, lay people, ordinary people, people in the family. Jesus is telling this message. All the more so to seminarians and priests. May we know the love of God and do our ministry faithfully in the manner Jesus describes it, and thus bring joy to the Lord who has created us, who has called us, who has nourished us, who is protecting us every day.